Kit bashing is a great way to build your creative ideas into something workable pretty fast. In the same way we bash together various primitive objects to create something more complex, we can do the same to a much greater degree with building blocks that were designed for that purpose. In the course, we'll take advantage of common shapes that show up time and time again, such as the little nuts and bolts details. Over time, you'll want to build up a library of your own simple objects for which to jumpstart your creations. With this hard surface modeling course, we've given you the kit bash that we're using here for the robot to hit the ground running. But something very cool about Blender is that even without any external kit bash, we were aware that Blender has something of a bunch of what could be called kit bash items already built in, beyond just the standard primitives. And we can get to these in a number of ways. One way is to use some add-ons. So if we go Control Alt and U to launch our user preferences under add-ons, and if we filter out our categories to just show add mesh, on the right hand side here you can see a load of add-ons to do with adding new meshes, the sort of things that would show up in our Shift A add menu. So over here, first of all, let's just take a look at extra objects. Kind of speaks for itself. So I'm going to close that out, go Shift A, and now under mesh, you can see we have a bunch of extra things down here, as well as extras. I want to particularly point out this beam builder here. So let's bring that into the scene. Press T to bring up our tool shelf, and down here you can see we've got our various different types of beams. I'm going to use an I-beam, and then we can play with the various different parameters to get the kind of shape that we want. And then when we have something we like, we can just duplicate it. I'm going to use Alt-D so that it's just a typical instance. In other words, when we edit one of them, both of them will get updated. There is a little problem with this though. As you can see here, the faces on this side aren't showing the right way, but that's really easy to fix. We can just go Control N to recalculate the normals, and that's all sorted now. Also in this extra objects add-on, we'll find a section under mechanical, and we get some pipe joints and we get some gears, which are pretty useful. Just quickly, we can take a look at a pipe elbow, for example, and then we can change the radius and we can change the angle along with many of the other parameters, of course. Let's go Control Alt and U, bring back the user preferences. The bolt factory can be pretty handy as well. Let's close that out. Shift A, mesh, and now we can see a bolt at the bottom there. And then we have some parameters again in our tool shelf that we can use. But we could also go Shift A and generate a mesh bolt again and change that from a bolt into a nut. Let's just move that out of the way and bring that up a little bit just to see the difference. So this can be a pretty handy way to build up a whole load of mechanical-like objects, pretty typical hard surface type stuff, with very little effort right within Blender as you get it by default, without having to hunt down and download any extra add-ons. Over here on the 10th layer, I've actually just generated a quick scene. You can see there's the I-beams on this back wall here, just very simple geometry stuff. I've just generated these cylinders myself. These are the good old curves that we've already taken a look at. If I tab into edit mode, you can see pretty simple stuff. And down among here, you can see there's our bolts and there's our nuts that are also part of the bolt add-on.